Peace, peace, peace. My name's Jihad Amos Muhammad, aka Jit, from Tampa, Florida, out of them College Hill projects, top of the alley, apartment 529, Deuce and Lake, all day. All right, I'm fresh off work, and want to share a little hood story. It was back in 1980 something, and I was walking to me, my brother, and my cousin. Was walking to Golden Ring. This is a restaurant. It no longer exists today, but it's a well-known restaurant in Tampa Heights, another neighborhood that my mother had moved into, my stepfather, along with my siblings. And but this one particular day, we decided to walk the Golden Ring because we only stayed right through the cut, behind the 7-Eleven, which was literally right in front of Golden Ring. A lot of people don't know that was a 7-Eleven. But anyway, this particular day, me and my brother and my cousin walking the Golden Ring. And while going to Golden Ring, it was a group of dudes that came by in a car, and they was breaking their neck trying to see who I was. So I know I did a lot of wrong or whatever, but I didn't know these dudes. And they rolled by, and I heard one of the dudes say, because their windows was down, "That's the nigga right there." I'm telling you, that's the nigga right there. And so I didn't think nothing of it. Well, I thought of it, but it wasn't no biggie because I was scrapped. And so when my cousin was scrapped, I ain't had nothing on me at the time. I didn't even know he had something on him because we just took a stroll to Golden Ring. We wasn't, on nothing. But still, you can't leave the house without it. So long truth short, they bust a U-turn by Blue Ribbon Because coming down Tampa Street, that's a one-way going south, going towards downtown. And then you got Florida Avenue that's going north, opposite of downtown. Then you got Columbus that's running east and west. So they was traveling from the west, going east on Columbus. And we was standing on the opposite of the restaurant, opposite the street, Columbus, in front of the restaurant, waiting to go by, waiting for the cars to pass through. And so when they passed by us, they said they go to the nigga right there. I'm like, I'm looking at my brother, and I'm like, y'all heard that? Like, who they talking about? I don't know none of these cats. So they go up Columbus a little bit and bust that U-turn, but they pulled up in Golden Ring and kind of, and turned around. And as they was coming back, they whipped up on us before we could make it inside of the Golden Ring. So we at the door to go the Golden Ring or the restaurant. And so one of the cats said, like, what's up, nigga? So I ain't get rowdy with him, Like I say, my cousin was scrapped, but I ain't know he had no, nothing on him, So I looked in the car, and I seen the one dude, he was scrapped. I don't know how many of them were scrapped in there, but I knew one of the dudes was scrapped. And so I'm just trying to look at all their face so I can remember them, just in case I survive this situation. Because I know they mistaken me for somebody else. And there was like 2 or 3 cats in Tampa that we was mistaken for each other, and all of us was thugging, so I don't know who they thought I was, but they was on me. And so Fat Horace was coming through. My homeboy Horace, used to sell all of the little products up there by Paul Liquor Store. So Horace had I think that was a Regal or Caprice, a Cutlass or whatever. He was coming through, bamming, and he spotted me, turned the music down, and he blowed at me. And so I gestured him back, like, so they didn't know who this was. They knew Horace. Evidently they had to know Horace, because Horace been around. But they seen me wave Horace, just in case Horace had, was scrapped or whatever, I could have. But anyway, these cats, man, they if they was really real, they would have gunned me down right there, gunned me and my brother them down, and peeled off. So they still trying to figure if I was the person, I'm assuming, they was looking for. And so when I waved for Horace to come turn around, they peeled out, they backed up. When they was backing up towards Columbus to go east, towards Florida, my cousin said, shit, I think he said he had the gun on him. And I grabbed it. And I think I bust like 2 or 3 shots at the car. And the clip fell out. The clip fell out in the middle of the road. And so whatever they had, man, whatever they had, it was pretty big. But I had a 25 automatic. My cousin had a 25. I think I was a 25 automatic. And I bust this little old thing, bomb. I was hot. But anyway, that was that. I ain't see them guys no more. I ain't know who they were. I didn't know where to begin looking for them. So they kept going. But I remember their faces because I looked inside of the car. And so I ended up going to prison later on down the line, not long after, probably a year or two later. I went to prison. Probably a year after that, I went to prison. While at ACI, East Unit, go to the weight pile. And when I go to the weight pile, I see a dude, because they said they had just shipped a few cats from Tampa in the other day, but I was in solitary confinement when that happened. So when I jumped on the compound, I see this dude up under the weights, and I see my partner, one of the homies, spotting him. And so I'm looking down in his face. I'm like, damn, this dude look familiar. Mind you, I hadn't seen him since the incident at Golden Ring. And so I'm trying to get him in all angles. So every angle I look, he looked like the dude that was in that car. The one that was really running his mouth. Talking about there I go, or there I is, right? And so I'm looking, and so I believe he had a cut or some over his nose, I think. And I say, yeah, that's that cat. And his name was Ronald Hudson, out of West Tampa. And so before he can get up off of the bench, I told his homie, I realized that was his homie Jerome Crawford, to back up. You know what I mean? And so I told him, I adjusted him to, back up, you know what I mean? So he ain't think nothing of it, this the home team. He feel, this, he from Tampa, I'm from Tampa. I said, nah, man, this cat, pulled up on me, you know what I'm saying? So he said, nah, then one thing you don't do is get in the man's business. We could be cool afterwards, but some things got to be handled right then. And so as he was laying down on the bench, I was gonna drop a 70-pound weight on his head. But instead of doing that, I gave him a fair chance to get up. I said, you remember me? He said, nah. I said, yeah, I remember with Golden Ring. So I reminded him of what happened. And he was like, oh nah, man, I thought you was somebody else, man. I said, but y'all had scrap, y'all had guns, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you was talking real fly. If I had got out of line, my nigga, you would have shot me. Or somebody would have. I don't know how many of y'all had guns in there, man. You know what I'm saying? Mistaken identity would have got me killed, man. I don't know what y'all was on that day. And so, but anyway, we talked. I was hot. I was heated. The homies was like, hey man, let it go, homie. See, I was one of the shot callers, so wasn't no calming me down if I didn't want to calm down. But I had to reciprocate the respect and the love. So we did it. That beef or that situation, I ain't really know him to have beef, other than what he did, which created the beef. So that was that, and me and Ron had got pretty cool after that, man. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard that he passed away a few years ago. That's what I heard. I think I seen it somewhere where Ronald Hudson had passed away from West Tampa. But he was a cool dude, man. After that, we got pretty cool. He used to be over to my cousin's house in West Tampa. My cousin Maya, he used to be over her house gambling and stuff. They used to be all in her house gambling. So that's a little hood snippet, a little hood story, snippet of me and Ronald Hudson going through it. And if it wasn't for the homies, we probably would have been real ugly. But I salute my brother, Ronald Hudson. I heard he passed away. If not, I salute you and pray that you live a longer time, longer life. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's no longer with us. So with that being said, peace. Signing off, Jihad Amos Muhammad, a.k.a. Jit, from Tampa, Florida, out of the College Hill Projects, top of the alley, apartment 529, Deuce and Lake, all day. Peace.